Take a look at this man on security cameras. He slowly walks up to the porch of a house in New York. For a few seconds, everything seems completely normal. Maybe a delivery driver, a neighbor, or someone looking for the wrong address. But then he notices the camera. Immediately, he steps away from the door and runs back to the car. Strange behavior, because that man was not an ordinary American citizen. According to federal investigators, he was part of a covert Iranian operation. And inside the trunk of the car, authorities found a 7.62 caliber rifle, 76 rounds of ammunition, a mask, fake license plates, and $11,000 in cash. The target of that operation was Iranian journalist Masih Alinejad, and what happened in the following days revealed one of the boldest assassination plots ever uncovered on American soil. But to understand why that man showed up at the door of that house, we first need to understand who the target was. For years, the Iranian government tried to control how women should live and appear in public. But one Iranian journalist began openly challenging that system. Her name was Masih Alinejad. Born and raised in Iran, she had criticized the regime since she was young. The pressure became so intense that, in 2009, she was forced to leave the country and move to the United States. But even from the other side of the world, she never stopped. In 2014, she launched a campaign called My Stealthy Freedom. Women from different cities across Iran began posting photos and videos without the hijab. Some recorded themselves in secret. Others quickly removed their veil in public places before anyone could notice. Little by little, the campaign became a symbol of resistance against one of the country's strictest laws. The images spread rapidly. Millions of people began watching women challenge one of the most rigid laws of the Iranian regime. For Tehran, this was not just activism. It was a direct attack on the authority of the state. Iranian officials began accusing her of encouraging social disorder and acting against national security. In 2019, figures connected to Iran's judicial system publicly declared that women who sent videos to Masih could face years in prison. The pressure intensified. Her family members were interrogated. People close to her began receiving threats. Her family's former home was raided. But the impact of the campaign continued to grow. And then came the protests of 2022. Everything began after the death of Mahsa Amini, a 22-year-old Iranian woman detained by the country's morality police for allegedly wearing her hijab improperly. The news triggered outrage. Thousands of women took to the streets. Videos of arrests, beatings, protesters running from security forces. All of it reached Masih. She became one of the main connections between Iran and the rest of the world. As the threats increased, Masih constantly changed addresses. Because at that point, according to American investigators, the Iranian government no longer viewed her as just a journalist. She had become a threat to the regime itself. And at that moment, the regime in Tehran concluded that threats alone were no longer enough. Days before someone appeared at Masih's front door, residents in the area began noticing unusual activity. Everything seemed too small to raise suspicion. At first, it was just a car parked on the same street for unusually long periods of time. Then, the same vehicle started appearing repeatedly throughout the day. In the morning, late afternoon, and even late at night. It was a gray Subaru, almost always motionless. The man behind the wheel rarely left the car. Neighborhood security cameras eventually captured his face over and over again. His name was Khalid Madiev, an Azerbaijani citizen with no significant history in the United States. In ordinary records, he was practically invisible. But Madiev was part of something much larger. Just days before his arrest, he returned to the street where Masih lived. He parked the Subaru near the residence and remained there for hours, watching every movement near the front entrance, trying to understand what time she left the house, who usually accompanied her. And when she was alone, Masi quickly realized she was being followed. She contacted the FBI almost immediately. The instruction was direct: leave the house immediately. Within minutes, she was gone. 8 minutes later, the Subaru reappeared on the street. It was a check, an attempt to confirm whether the target was still inside the residence. Later that same day, Medvedev was stopped by police after running a red light. During the traffic stop, officers noticed something strange. He appeared extremely nervous. His answers did not match. Because of the inconsistencies, officers decided to search the vehicle. Inside the trunk, they found a black suitcase. And inside it, an AK-47 rifle, 76 rounds of ammunition, a mask, fake identification plates, and $11,000 in cash. He was arrested on the spot. Shortly afterward, the investigation was officially transferred to the FBI. The next piece of the puzzle appeared inside his phone. Agents discovered records connected to cryptocurrency wallets. At first, the amounts did not seem unusual. Small transfers, $700, $1,000. Amounts consistent with basic operational expenses. Fuel, rental vehicles, hotels, advance payments. But one transaction stood out completely from the rest: $30,000. The transfer had been made just days before Medvedev first appeared near Masi's home. Investigators began tracing the money. The funds moved through exchanges connected to Eastern Europe and the Middle East. Even with attempts to conceal the trail, it eventually pointed to two names. The first was Rafat Amirov, an Azerbaijani citizen who, according to authorities, frequently traveled between Europe and Iran. Investigators believed Amirov used false identities and multiple passports to cross borders without attracting attention. Data extracted from the phone showed frequent contact between him and Medvedev. The conversations included references to surveillance locations, specific dates, and confirmation of the target. Amirov never physically entered the United States. Even so, he was identified as one of the central coordinators of the operation. He received instructions from Iranian agents and passed orders to the people carrying out the plan. The second name identified by investigators was Polad Omarov, a man based in the Czech Republic with ties to criminal networks across the Caucasus and Eastern Europe. According to the FBI, he was the one who moved the $30,000. Omarov handled the operational structure, money, logistics, cover. Using contacts in the criminal underworld, he searched for individuals without known histories to law enforcement. Men willing to carry out dangerous tasks without asking questions. Amirov and Omarov operated on different sides of the same machine. One managed the resources, the other kept the operation running. And the recovered messages made one thing clear: both men fully understood the seriousness of what they were preparing. In March 2025, the investigation finally reached federal court. The three men faced a series of serious charges: conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, acting as agents of a foreign government, and money laundering. Months later, on October 29, 2025, the jury delivered its verdict. All three were sentenced to 25 years in federal prison. But the FBI still did not consider the case closed, because the men arrested were only part of the structure. Investigators continued climbing the chain of command, and the further they went, the closer they got to the core of the Iranian regime. At the top of the operation, one specific name emerged: Ruhollah Bazgandi, a general in Iran's Revolutionary Guard. According to American authorities, Bazgandi coordinated the entire mission. He approved funding, selected intermediaries, and demanded constant updates about the progress of the operation. Every stage went through him: the surveillance, the money, the contacts, even the selection of the man tasked with carrying out the assassination. In October 2024, the United States Department of Justice formally announced charges against Bazgandi for participating in a conspiracy to murder a person on American soil. Despite that, he remains in Iran, and American authorities admit that extradition is virtually impossible. Even so, his name was added to international wanted lists. What happened set a precedent unlike anything before. For the first time, an active member of Iran's Revolutionary Guard was officially accused by the American justice system of organizing an assassination plot inside the United States. The hitman was arrested. The operators connected to the European network were captured, extradited, and convicted. And the entire structure of the operation was exposed. But exposing the network did not eliminate the danger. The threat still exists. To this day, the FBI maintains permanent protection for Masih Alinejad. She changes addresses frequently, avoids creating routines, almost never takes the same route twice, and rarely stays long in public places. In internal FBI documents, she is still classified as a high-risk target. The Iranian government has never admitted any involvement in the conspiracy. Even so, according to Western authorities, intelligence structures connected to the regime continue operating outside Iran, silently, and across multiple countries at the same time. If you made it this far, leave a comment below and tell me what you thought about this story. And also let me know which state or country you're watching from. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next videos. See you next time.